The economy. It can feel impossibly complex, right? You've got millions of people buying, selling, and working all at the same time. But what if I told you we could understand it? What if we could build a simple model, piece by piece, to see exactly how it all fits together? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do right now. And that's the big question, isn't it? At first glance, it just looks like chaos. But economists use models as a kind of map, a way to simplify all that noise and see the structure underneath. So let's draw one of those maps together, starting with a totally blank page. Okay, so first things first, every good model needs its main characters. And in the simplest version of the economic world, we really only need to focus on two key groups. That's households and firms. Think of it like this. Households, well, that's us. You and me. We're the ones who buy and consume everything. But we also own all the basic ingredients of the economy: our labor, the land, and our capital, like savings and tools. On the other side, you've got firms. They're the producers. They take all those ingredients from us and transform them into all the goods and services we buy. So, we have our players. Now, we need to put them on the game board so we can see how they actually interact. And this is where it gets really cool, because you start to see it's all just one continuous loop. And here is our game board. It's called the circular flow diagram. It's a really powerful little model because it shows something fundamental. For every bit of stuff, like a product or our work, that moves in one direction, money flows in the opposite direction. Just look at this diagram. It lays out the economy's two-way street perfectly. That inner loop shows the flow of actual things. We, the households, provide our labor to firms, and in return, the firms provide goods and services back to us. Now look at the outer loop. That's the flow of money. Firms pay us for our work, and then we turn around and use that exact same money to buy their stuff. One loop is physical, the other is cash, and they just keep flowing, powering each other. So we've got our players and our game board. But how do they decide what to do? What to buy, where to work? It turns out that every single one of those decisions is guided by one single core economic rule. And that rule is opportunity cost. It's a simple but profound idea. Whatever you choose to do, you are, by definition, giving up the chance to do something else. Take a college athlete who's good enough to go pro and earn millions. For them, the opportunity cost of staying in school is huge. They're giving up that massive potential salary. That's what makes the choice so tough. Let's put some numbers on this. Say Kong the farmer wants to produce 1 ounce of meat. To do that, he has to give up producing 4 ounces of potatoes. But look at Kang the rancher. To produce that same ounce of meat, she only gives up 2 ounces of potatoes. Kang has a lower opportunity cost for meat. And that difference, right there, is the fundamental spark that ignites all trade in an economy. Okay, so far we've been looking at how individuals make choices. But now let's zoom out. What happens when you get millions of these choices from all the households and firms colliding in the marketplace? Well, two incredibly powerful opposing forces emerge: supply and demand. Let's start with demand. This is basically the buyer's side of the story. And the law of demand is something you already know intuitively. When the price of something goes up, we tend to buy less of it, and when it goes on sale, we buy more. It's really that simple. This graph here just visualizes that exact idea. See how the price is on the vertical axis? As that price goes down, the quantity people are willing to buy along the horizontal axis goes up. That's what creates that classic downward-sloping demand curve. But hey, price isn't the only thing that matters. Things like a change in your income or just your personal tastes, they can shift the entire demand curve. For instance, if a new study comes out saying apples are the ultimate superfood, suddenly people want way more apples at every single price, and that whole curve shifts over to the right. All right, now for the other side of the coin, supply. This is all about the seller's perspective. And the law of supply is basically the mirror image of demand. When the price of a good goes up, firms are more willing to produce and sell more of it. Why? Because they can make more profit. And that's exactly why the supply curve always slopes upward. A higher price is a green light, an incentive for producers. It helps them cover their costs and, more importantly, boosts their profits, encouraging them to bring more to the market. And yup, you guessed it, just like demand, the entire supply curve can shift too. Imagine a bad frost kills a huge portion of the orange crop. That makes the raw materials for orange juice way more expensive. The supply of juice will then decrease at every price, shifting the whole curve to the left. It's a totally dynamic system. Okay, let's put this together.
We've got buyers who want low prices and sellers who want high prices. These two forces are in a constant tug of war. So let's see what happens when we finally bring them together. This is really the climax of our whole model.
This is the central question, isn't it? When push comes to shove, what price and what quantity will everyone finally agree on? The answer is called equilibrium. It is the one magic price point where the amount that sellers want to sell is exactly equal to the amount that buyers want to buy. There's no waste, no one's left wanting. It's the market's natural point of balance. Now, when the price isn't at that perfect equilibrium point, you get imbalance. If the price is too high, you get a surplus. Stuff's just sitting on shelves because no one's buying it. And if the price is too low, you get a shortage, empty shelves and frustrated customers who can't get what they want. In this graph shows it all perfectly. See that one single point where the supply and demand curves cross? That's it. That's equilibrium. Any price above that point creates a surplus, which naturally forces prices down. And any price below it creates a shortage, which pushes prices back up. The market is always pushing itself toward that sweet spot. And there you have it. That's the core of it. We've got households and firms interacting in a circular flow, making choices based on opportunity cost, which in turn creates the forces of supply and demand that naturally find a balance. We've just built a working model of the economy from scratch. Now, this model shows us a free market doing its thing, but it raises a really fascinating question. What happens to this elegant balance when a third player, the government, steps onto the board? What happens when they introduce things like taxes or price controls? Well, that's a question we'll leave you to think about.